Hey guys, Broheen here with another Mage video for an update on Rift 3.0. We're going to take a look at new Warlock. Not really too much new. The spec is the same. The macros are the same. So I'm gonna actually bring up the soul tree here just to give you a little rebrief. So it's 61 Warlock, fill it up. 6 Harbinger, those 5 points in Eldritch Knowledge, and the 1 in Blazing Light. Must have Blazing Light for this build. The Necromancer Tree has 5 in Death's Ally, and we chose to put 2 in Fresh Graves and 2 in Flesh Rot. That'll make your Necrosis about even time with the rest of the dots that you cast here. Now, looking over at the Masteries, this part obviously again is different. For level 61, you can choose however you want to use it. For this particular build, it's more or less just a raid build, so basically, I chose to use the Arcanist Shield just because critical hits give me a shield. So that's also nice. You know, Warlock crits pretty high, so it crits pretty often. Healing Expertise, this is where the spec changes. Casting Dark Touch also applies Life Leech and Nedra's Grasp if known to the enemy. So, which is why during the rotation we no longer have Life Leech first, but we have Dark Touch first. So, with that being said, moving on. 63, we're going to use Mental Cynosure. Get some charge back because charge is awesome for this build with having to use, let's see what, with Contaminate toggled charge consumer, so that's also good. We use Sparking Destruction for this because most of it's all single target damaging abilities, so we do extra damage once we reach 3 stacks, does 90% of your spell power. So, in which, in my case, for stats, spell power, we're looking at, it'd probably do about 7,700 damage or so, give or take. So, now, level 65 makes this way different as well. This causes the next 5 damaging abilities to deal an additional 6,900 to 7,600 ethereal damage. So I'm choosing to use this at the end of my dot rotation, so that way when I use Void Barrage and it reapplies all the dots, it reapplies the dots with this extra damage, and also your Void Barrage hits with the extra damage. So it seems to clock better that way. However, again, for the purpose of this video, without being able to get a dummy below 50%, I will not be able to show you the actual DPS on the meter for Death's Door. So the DPS is going to look a little low, but once you get less than 50%, you can start cracking away with Death's Door. Man, it is just ridiculous. So your buffs that you're going to use: Warlock Armor, Nedra's Might, Lightning Blade, a Crystal if it still applies, which mine does not, and make sure you have your correct trinket on as always. So take a look at the macros real fast. Warlock. Let's see, I don't really have a lot in here other than my lock refresher, which is just cast Void Barrage, cast Persist, and your switching macro, which is mouse over UIs for salvage, corruption, and deathly pall in case you have to recollect all those dots and reapply them to another enemy for switching targets. Let's see, and then your proc. Cast Consuming Agony, cast Void Bolt, so when you see that Consuming Agony proc or your Opportunity proc, you'll hit that button, and whichever one's next in line or not on cooldown, you'll be able to cast. So apply your buffs, get ready here. We already have an opportunity, which, you know, is going to run out and we won't be able to apply it. So key things to note: Conflux is going to be along with your main spam. I believe the main spam. Jeez, what a fail. I don't even know my own shit. Oh, that's what it was. Yep, the main spam here. So forgot this macro. Copy and paste this guy in. So Conflux, don't forget the sacrifice life damage. So Conflux is, it puts a stack of 10 on you of Conflux, and when other dots are applied, like when you refresh them, should be about 5 or 6 dots or so that are going to take a stack of Conflux off and do additional damage per stack when the dots are reapplied. You have 3 damage buffs. First one that we're going to be using is going to be Empowered Darkness. and then we'll be using sacrifice life damage second, and then toggling. You'll have to manually toggle this because it doesn't work very well in a macro, but toggle contaminate if these two are on cooldown. Another thing to note, radiate death. It's freaking awesome for AoE, spreads to 6 additional enemies, so it does some more damage for you. You can really make the numbers, boost the numbers up, and you know, make it look like you're a god out here with Warlock, especially on like what we used to do in the Kane fight in Endless Eclipse. So I think that's it. I think we're ready to get into rotation. So first thing, you're going to start off with a Dark Touch, a Defile, which is a charge consumer, but heavy damage. Then you're going to hit Atrophy, Necrosis next, use your Blazing Light, and then hit him with Arcane Manipulation. Then use your Refresher once, then go into main spam. From that point, you're basically watching Necrosis. Once Necrosis gets down to about... you could either watch Necrosis or Dark Touch, actually. When Necrosis gets down to about 5 seconds or so, which is usually about when this cooldown for Void Barrage is about halfway done, refresh them, and you know, your stacks of Conflux should be consumed by that point, doing extra damage, and your dots will be refreshed. The only ones that do not refresh are the Arcane Manipulation and Blazing Light. These two will have to be reapplied. Obviously this one is on cooldown, so only every 30 seconds. Blazing Light will have to be reapplied every single time when it's about to fall off. So usually after I do a refresher, I'll do a Blazing Light afterwards, and if it's not on cooldown, I'll do an Arcane Manipulation after that as well. So let's get into the rotation, guys. So hit them with a Dark Touch, go through the list as I just explained. Alright, there's a refresher, and we'll start spamming. So right now we're seeing about 20k or so. Watch those dots, almost let them fall off there. We'll reapply this Blazing Light, knowing our Arcane Manipulation is still on cooldown. Smash that proc, there's another refresh, and let Void Barrage run out. Tends to do the most damage that way. Arcane Manipulation on cooldown, and dot's about to fall off again. And we're maintaining about 25k now, so it's actually up there a little higher than my Pyro parse, but Pyro is really depends on the gear you have. The dots, not so much, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Again, don't forget to use your Contaminate like I just did temporarily there. Don't let these dots fall off either, guys. Ooh, Empower Darkness. Yeah, there we go. There's a little burst. 27k on the dummy. Might have to reparse that Pyro for you. So, but that's it. I'm going to stop right there. So we're holding about 25k consistently. I don't see it going to drop from there, but it will only go up when we can actually use Deathstalker on an enemy that is 50% health or less. So if you have any questions about the spec, please feel free to let me know. You can let me know either on the YouTube channel under the video in the comments, or you can let me know on the Facebook page at facebook.com/tgeonline. And you know, just let me know how you feel about it, because Warlock is one of those specs that you're not going to learn literally in 5 minutes. It's going to take some practice, but once you get it down, it is definitely one of the highest raid ready specs. So alright guys, well thanks again for watching, and I hope this video helps, especially with, you know, setting up the new Masteries for the spec. On that note, you guys have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.